KG, man, we've got a great slate of games coming up, and I mean, Contender is always so much fun.
Oh yes, that is that's the area I have a lot of expertise in. I play in that particular uh, type of division, and it is a lot of fun. I have a grand old time playing it, and I'm a little sad that I'm not playing in it, but I'm actually glad to be here.
It is always a good time. Contender, you never quite know exactly what you're going to get. We do know what these two teams have put up through the season so far, though. Gravitational, the 2 seed coming out of the playoffs. Dionysus, the 3 seed. You can see the regular season stats here on the screen. Pretty even all the way through. You know, you can talk about playoffs and how regular season doesn't really matter once you get to the playoffs, but it's a nice indication of the play styles of these teams. A little bit more saves both for and against for Dionysius, and then a little bit more offense for Gravitational, but very neck and neck between these two teams. Oh, I know we've got players in, so we're going to scoot over to the lineups here in KG. I'd love to hear your thoughts about what you think about these teams since this is your tier.
Well, both teams are playing very well. They played really well late in the season, in my opinion. I had the luxury of playing against Gravitational as a scrim before our backdraw tournament, and Enigma had an absolutely grand old time against us. So I'm looking for Enigma specifically on Gravitational to uh, kind of set the tone for their team. And the opposite side, I think Soul and Superman, they play the most for Dionysus, and they play really well together. And so as a team, they're really hard to beat without like making sure that you're aware of your surroundings because they're kind of a complete package.
Absolutely. Well rounded on the Dionysius side. Gravitational, probably running the three of Enigma, Mandark, and D Machine. Players are joining onto the pitch as we speak. We're going to
Oh
get
yeah.
them in here and we're going to get underway. A best of 7 between these two sides. Starting off here in Champions Field or pardon me, not Champions Field. What am I saying? It's fine. There's game 1 going on. KG, please save me.
Oh, to be honest, I don't know the field name, so I can't quite help you on that particular
Man,
part,
what kind
unfortunately.
of Rocket League casters are we?
Kind of right. I don't. There's too many fields. Let's put it. That's my excuse. Enigma is trying to make a play inside, and a nice. With 30 seconds in, it's the feel out period, and both teams putting a little bit of the ball back and forth. It's staying in Dionysus' corner, and unfortunately now we go to the opposite side, and not much going on. They're kind of playing a little bit patient right here, trying to feel each other out. And a minute in, not much for both teams. Although I'd say that Gravitational is keeping the ball at Dionysus' side, as that was a shot on goal. Nice save.
A tough read there, but continuing on through this first minute of game number 1, still 0-0. I do think that pretty soon you're going to see that feeling out period come to an end, and both these teams are going to start to get their teeth set into the offense a little bit more as D Machine works one down into the Dionysius corner. Firefly will have the clear. Mandark a 50 high into the blue zone, probably not where they wanted that one. Enigma will bail him out for a minute, but a follow-up by Soul is going to just barely be swept away by Mandark. First opportunity, a real good opportunity on the board there for Dionysius. They're going to have another look there and turned aside once again by the defense, but the threat is not cleared yet. Another ball back into the box here. More pressure applied by Soul. Firefly again to the backboard. And Superman finally stymied there, and a good clear comes out from Gravitational. It's a good push from Dionysius, just not quite breaking through yet.
Exactly. That was a very good try right there. Kind of the same thing on the other side, although I'd say they put it a little bit more centered, and Agent Mandark able to meet that one. Enigma can't quite get the touch to send it on goal, and Soul with a nice touch, backing it all the way to Gravitational side. So they had a little bit of a counterattack opportunity, but great defense by Dionysus and Soul specifically to get that away, as Soul taking it in the corner kind of gives it right back, with D Machine sending it to the center. Firefly going up, gets the touch back to the opposite side and preventing Agent Mandark from getting any sort of follow-up goal. That ball is going to be hit away by Soul to the sidewall. Goes up for it and missing it. So does Superman. A little bit of a double commit, so we have a little bit of a chance here. Enigma, a little bit of a back touch toward D Machine. That's going to go wide, and that was definitely an opportunity right there for Gravitational. Unfortunately, not quite as scary as it could have been.
It was a great layoff and just not quite able to pull the trigger on the shot with Gravitational, but it is pressure set back up, and the boost game very much in favor of Gravitational here. They're going to try to jam this one through as we're through halftime in game number 1. D-Machine around the corner, centering ball out to Mandark, and it's 50'd away by Soul. Enigma can't find that early challenge at midfield. D-Machine with a good turn. Enigma on the redirect to the backboard. Follow-up is there, and D-Machine scores the first goal of these Contender finals.
That was a nice play by Enigma to stay right there, didn't rush back, and it gave them an opportunity. That could have been a goal in itself, but D-Machine doing a good job of reading that hit up the back wall, and they've opened it up. A minute 51 to go.
Minute 51, Gravitational in the lead here, trying to take a 1-0 lead in the best-of-7 finals. Ball over the middle from D-Machine, given away just a little bit. Soul looking for it off the backboard, trying to find a quick equalizer. The follow-up from Superman also just not quite coming through. Dionysus only one shot on goal so far, and we are 3.5 minutes through this first game, so the offense not coming together quite yet for the orange side. A demo from Mandark is going to make that even more difficult for Dionysus, but now Firefly, a nice read out through the middle. The touch off the backboard just a little bit too much. Superman still there. Soul tries to dive in, and it's going to be Firefly hustling back here to make a stop. It just to absolutely built the wall in front of D-Machine. And now Dionysus have got to find a way to get this out of their corner quickly because there's less than a minute left. 50 to the crossbar from Enigma. Real close there. Almost a dagger for Gravitational.
Ooh, good demo by D-Machine and Firefly, but that ball's missed. Still has a chance, as that ball is going to go and stay on Dionysus' side, but not be dangerous anymore. D-Machine and Enigma both going for it. A little bit of a double commit, and this could be a little bit dangerous. The Superman trying to dribble it down. Mandark able to get it into the corner and give them time to get back. Soul with a weak shot and a nice easy save, as D-Machine going to get it back to Dionysus' zone. Soul trying to catch it, but Mandark is there to keep it right back down there and try to waste time as we have under 30 seconds to go. And Dionysus down 1, trying to get it centered. Superman missing that one, unfortunately. Maybe a chance squandered right there as Firefly making the save, and Soul with a nice backup as that ball was saying right in front of the goal. 10 seconds here. Mandark keeping it in, and they don't have much time to get down this field and score. That ball's stopped by Enigma. Firefly getting into the corner, slightly dangerous, but Mandark there to hit it down, and we have a Game 1 win for Gravitational.
Gravitational take a pretty strong game number 1 win, I would say. Wasn't the most convincing as far as the final scoreline goes, but looking at these stats, Soul 2 shots on goal, only offense for Dionysus, and we saw, I at least remember one of them off the top of my head, was that weak one kind of in the last minute here for Dionysus, and it's just it's not enough offense for them. They've got to find a way to generate a little bit more threat downfield, because the 8 shots that they had to absorb from Gravitational, while they did a great job of keeping most of them out, they let one through, which is going to happen when you face down 8 shots over the course of a game. When you only put 2 back up, it's going to be impossible for you to win in this kind of high pressure situation.
Exactly, and they definitely had some opportunities to score. There were some plays they just didn't quite get the touches they were looking for. Although that being said, their defense played very well considering their 8 shots and only 1 goal, and there were a lot of really good opportunities for Gravitational to actually pull away, especially a little bit late. Dionysus kind of met the challenge, but again, a 1-0 loss is still a loss.
That it is, and it is now on the backs of Dionysus to try to bounce back here in game number 2. It's a long series, best of 7, a lot longer than anything else that we really play over the course of an RSC season. So fatigue is something that you've got to keep in mind, because there's still a lot of Rocket League to play here for both of these teams, and the pressure that it all comes down to is also something that is got to be in the forefront of the minds of these players as they get ready to hop onto the pitch for game number 2. I really think it comes down to, for me at least, KG, Dionysus has got to find some more shots. Are you looking for anything else from them here going into game number 2, or something from Gravitational to keep them on top through the rest of the series?
Well, if I'm Gravitational, I'm definitely thinking we only won 1-0, so Dionysus is definitely a few plays away from being there, but I agree with you. Just got to get more shots, more pressure, and have a little bit of faith in yourself, as this ball's sort of a center by Dionysus, and there was a chance right there for Gravitational to get a good hit on that. It just didn't come in. Enigma missing that one in the corner, and a miss from Soul, and that one's a shot on goal, deflected but still scored as IMD Machine opens this up 16 seconds in.
That's a tough break for Dionysus here to start things off, just trying to jump in front. Firefly thought they had the read and could dip back down to pop that one high. Just a little bit too much pace on the shot. D-Machine within the first 16 seconds is going to put Gravitational up 1-0. It took them most of game number 1 to score 1 goal, and now they've scored their second goal of the series, the first of the second game, within the first 30 seconds. So it's a pretty good start for Gravitational as they keep looking to keep this momentum going. Not quite as good of a start for Dionysus, though. They're going to have an opportunity downfield here. Firefly to the backboard. I keep wanting to call Firefly Flyfire, one of our other casters, just because I've gotten so used to calling that out. Apologies to Firefly. We'll get it right at some point here, as D-Machine puts this one in the corner. No boost to follow it up, so Soul will have at least a little bit of space gained. Mandark right back into the corner, though, here for Gravitational. Firefly with the clearance, can't snag that corner boost, so it'll be D-Machine once again. And Superman, that's a great clear off the backboard. Change of direction and the chance to breathe here for Dionysus just for a moment.
Oh, that moment didn't last long, but Superman able to... Well, actually a center. Great read by D-Machine. Couldn't get it in, and Enigma couldn't get there as Superman was in the way a little bit. Mandark getting a great 50, but Superman able to take that. Soul trying to get it over Machine with very good patience right now. And it seems to me by the beginning of the game, Dionysus has had a little bit of trouble touching the ball. I would say a little bit of a double commit by Soul and Firefly, not quite able to talk it out, although Soul was able to come back and get back on defense. Ooh, a nice shot by Enigma, reading the wall. Soul not there in time. It definitely feels like they're a little bit more passive this game, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, definitely sitting back, trying to wait for opportunities to come to him a little bit more, but Enigma knows you're going to leave that backboard undefended, and he's going to make you pay. Real tight angle there for Enigma, and a 2-0 lead now for Gravitational. The first time we've seen more than a goal scored. It's only game number 2, so it's not like that's saying a ton, but the offense is starting to come to Gravitational now, and Dionysus still only with 1 shot on the board, and it belongs to Firefly. Enigma trying to 1v3 here. Will take it all the way across the mouth of the goal. Didn't get anybody to bite for the 50, so it's a good clear for Firefly. A demo, a boost grab, a center out to the middle, Soul to the backboard. Can they find the follow-up of their own? It's there, but just barely pushed high by the defensive Gravitational. Another look now, the shot missed. I think that was Superman going up and over, just couldn't quite find the handle. It's a good look for Dionysus here as they try to get something going. Lots of pressure forward and just still not quite able to find the back of the net. Firefly again to the backboard, and Enigma another ball into the corner, and Gravitational will clear their lines once again.
Oh, that was the opportunity they needed. That could have gotten them back in this game, although plenty of time, still basically half the game. But that right there, don't let that hurt you. Don't let that give you any less confidence. You guys belong here for a reason, and I think you still have plenty of time. There's 2 minutes to go, plenty of time. As Firefly's gonna have the back wall. Good stop by Mandark to prevent anything. As Soul getting it to Superman. Again, Superman gets demoed by Mandark, who has been all over the place this game.
All 3 players for Gravitational doing a great job of really just putting themselves in the right spots when they need to be. Rotations for both teams are pretty solid, but I have noticed the tendency of Dionysus to double commit a little bit more, both offensively and defensively. It's not helping them get out of their defensive zone with more pace, that is for sure. And then as they're trying to find a way to break down this stone wall of defense that is Gravitational, those double commits are only going to make that more difficult as well. Firefly out through midfield, no boost in the tank though, so it's pretty much just a free ball back to Gravitational. Soul will get a long clear. Superman out in pursuit, a good 50 to the center. Soul can't find the shot. Firefly just sitting a little bit too far back. Enigma was waiting, and he's going to put it on frame, but Firefly makes the save. 2-0, the scoreline remains with 1:10 left, and Gravitational knocking on the door here, looking for number 3. The demo attempt from Enigma goes just past the defender. An open ball for Firefly, taken away by Mandark, and Dionysus still looking for their first goal of the series.
Yeah, the opportunities are there, just not quite getting the touches, and Gravitational happening to be there and just getting them unsettled. They're not completely open shots. The Gravitational definitely there to play defense, but you really want to hit those. As Superman getting it off back wall, Machine missing. Soul just can't get the touch on that. Superman getting it back, but D Machine able to read that one. Mandark up really fast. This has a chance to go in off the ceiling. No, it's going to hit the crossbar. Superman with a great save, but Enigma with a dunk. And that's pretty much going to end this game. 23 seconds to go, 3-0 lead.
Yeah, kind of looking like that might be all she wrote here for game number 2. Enigma with the pre-jump read on the dunk there to make it 3-0, and this one wasn't already iced. It is definitely now. It's a tough break for Dionysus. They managed to put some more offense on the board, but only just a little bit. They have 3 shots on goal here. This is another one on frame for Gravitational, and Mandark follows it up once again. It's 4-0 now for the side from Energy, and man, Gravitational have really just been taking it to the defense of Dionysus here. 3 shots for each player, at least 1 goal for each player, a double cycle between Mandark and D Machine. It is just all over the place, and then Enigma, all Enigma's got to do is be upfield to put the ball in the net, apparently. No assist, no save, but 2 goals on 3 shots is pretty great for a striker, and Gravitational are going to put themselves up 2-0. They look comfy here because Dionysus has not scored yet.
No, and that is a little bit of a disheartening feeling. However, there's still plenty of Rocket League to be played. I said this before. You're here for a reason. You guys belong here, and I don't think you should think anything of it. You got to think of it this way. There's still a bunch of games to play. And you just have to play a little bit more than you wanted to before. That's all.
And just a little bit more. The series will need to go longer than 4 games if you're Dionysus. And now it is it's a tough comeback to be made here. They've got to start with and it's gonna sound kind of like no duh. They got to start with scoring a goal. Like they've got to put a goal in the net. And I think that if they can find a way to score 1 or 2 in game number 3, even if they don't come out of game number 3 with a win, obviously, which will put them down in perfect sweep territory, if they can put a goal on the board, I think the feeling on the pitch is going to shift a little bit. Because right now, Gravitational are firmly in control of this game. If Dionysus, who are making a substitution as Superman leads and Engineer comes in, maybe a little bit of spark off the bench to get them that first goal. And then once that seal is lifted, hopefully here, for the sake of a longer series, hopefully Dionysus can pour a couple in. But, man, they've got to work through a stacked lineup for Gravitational, especially Enigma, who has been unstoppable downfield.
Agreed. I got to also give out Agent Mandark playing absolutely wonderful in the, I would call it not quite the defense, the midfield role. They've been all over the place playing good defense, getting stuff set up. And actually, all 3 teams, D Machine's I've watched a lot of 50s by D Machine in this particular game, and I would say, haven't really lost many of them, as Engineer playing a little bit differently. So we'll find out how this particular game goes. Maybe a slight feel-out game for both teams, as Engineer is a brand new player. However, Gravitational still has that momentum, like you said, and that was a little bit dangerous, as Engineer sort of centered that one for the Gravitational.
Little hairy there for a moment, but it was a great breakout to start things off. Soul with another shot on frame on the back of a feed from the Engineer, so definitely a good look. Engineer looks like they're kind of coming into this one off the bench as the designated first man, really just kind of trying to chase everything down, which, if it's communicated well, can be really effective against a team like Gravitational, where if you give them too much time, they're just gonna pick you apart. If you just designate one person to be always the go guy, your middle linebacker on an all-out blitz, for lack of a better analogy here, it really can throw a wrench into the defense of Gravitational, or a team like Gravitational. But it is a double-edged sword, because as soon as you overcommit and you send a second person along with that first person who you kind of designated to be your lead blocker, everything goes apart. Soul with a nice demo there, one-on-one, but Enigma doesn't really care which side of the field they're playing on. They have been lights out all night. A good feed to the middle here from Firefly, but there's no follow-up from Dionysus, just no chance at offense.
Yeah, they're doing everything that they need to do other than score. They're making good plays. They're getting the ball downfield. Gravitational has had the ball inside their half, but they haven't had the quality touches that they need for Dionysus to get back in this. Although right now I do like the way that they're playing, as they're kind of taking it to Gravitational a little bit on the slightly aggressive side, making sure that they demo. Although it was only one demo, you got to make sure you keep that in mind that that can happen as Engineer going for a little bit of a bump. That ball's going off or the back wall. That's sort of a center. Engineer demoing, but nobody in to be too aggressive to try to get that. I think they kind of need to be a little bit more aggressive here. Don't double commit, but don't be afraid to send somebody in there to try to get that goal.
Yeah, it is that fine line between being aggressive and being over-aggressive. Dionysus definitely need to at least shade their second man towards the goal a little bit more, towards their opponent's goal, because they're just not having any follow-up on their chances downfield, and the defensive rotations for Gravitational are just way too good for it to be a solo play that's going to get a ball past the defense for Dionysus. So got to find a way to back up your teammates a little bit more, shade that second player forward. You haven't scored a goal yet, so playing passively is not going to help you get to that point if you are Dionysus, and Gravitational have looked absolutely flawless in their defensive rotations. This game, they've focused on it a little bit more because they've not yet registered a shot. It's 4 shots to 0 for Dionysus right now, and somehow this third game is almost over as Engineer puts this one to the backboard. We've got 1:40 left, and it's still deadlocked. This is it's a good change for Dionysus, but still the problem of them not being able to put it in the back of the net persists as Firefly cranks one off the upper 90. A long cross from Engineer will be just too much for Soul, but a good 50, and Firefly will just be a little bit too passive, and Engineer just kind of 2 players sitting in the midfield. Nobody can go, and once again, Dionysus struggling to be able to get anything really threatening downfield. Enigma saw that one all the way in, got a long clear out of it, and 70 seconds remain. It is deadlocked 0-0.
Yes, that's why I want to. Definitely feels passive. I don't want to actually use the word unconfident. I feel more passive. I saw Engineer and Soul just like who's gonna take it last time. Soul had a chance. Engineer had a chance. They probably could have pushed it downfield a little bit more. But I think maybe a little bit of miscommunication between them right now is kind of happening. That being said, there's 44 seconds to go. There's still plenty of time for both teams to actually score this goal here. This is actually a really good job by both teams. A miss by D Machine. Soul's going to wait for Enigma, and a good read right there. Ball's going to go up. He's going to go for a bump and miss Mandark, who gets the ball right back downfield. A chance to score, getting it around 2 players and taking it themselves. Wow, what a turn of events.
Mandark gets the solo play in transition through midfield. Nice little air dribble pop, carries that one up and over, and Gravitational again in the lead here on their first shot of the game. They score their first goal of the game. They've continued to shut Dionysus out. There's no goals on the board yet for the series, and we're almost in game number 4. It is a perfect sweep territory here. Almost caster cursed, but Soul did me a solid there and put it off the backboard. Firefly a chance on an open net, but the shot is well wide. Enigma probably with enough boost just to guide this one down to the ground. D Machine will have a touch. Garbage time now for Enigma, and he puts it to the floor. Gravitational 1 game away from a perfect sweep here in the Contender Grand Finals.
And I feel like the story of Dionysus's Dionysus's night, while they haven't had an array of quality shots on target, the ones they have had have just been so close yet so far, and they really need to get these shots to be more dangerous to get Gravitational on their heels. And that's the only way they can get back in this, because if one shot is all you need to win this game on Gravitational side, this is going to be a really hard sell to get them to get 4 games to get back into this, or 3, I should say.
I am unhappy with Gravitational because they made my analysis point earlier of you're not going to win if you shoot less than your opponent completely moot. Dionysus put 6 shots on frame, couldn't put 1 in. Gravitational literally shooting 100% for that game. They shoot 1 shot and it goes in, and it's Mandark just literally carrying the ball into the net. So Gravitational proving me wrong, showing that you can just turtle up, play defense, find 1 poke downfield, and score a goal. But this all comes back to Dionysus's inability to convert in the box. They've had looks, they've had opportunities, and the shots just have not been there. They have literally got to find a way to get it done here. Game number 4, perfect sweep on the line for Gravitational. Superman almost ends the perfect sweep with a kickoff goal. What a way for it to finish, but it remains intact here as the Gravitational get away with a little bit of a hairy start to this fourth and potentially final game of the Contender season here for RSC Season 15. D-Machine to the corner, a good push in. Mandark will be there, not very aggressive on the defensive line. Dionysus just sitting 2 players on the goal line. You got to think they might be low on boost. Soul finds the corner, an opportunity here now. Soul pushes it downfield, a good bounce, but Mandark, a phenomenal read there. A little bit of a double commit, but Mandark does not really mind. He'll get a good clear, and Dionysus is so far upfield, just trying to make something happen. Superman stretching for the save, a good shot downfield, and it's enough. Dionysus and the potential for a perfect sweep. They score a goal, they're in the lead. This is what we need in game 4.
You're darn right. That was a very good hit, especially. They needed that one. Had a chance to even maybe dribble it down, and I kind of like the, I'll be honest, I like the shot. They had that confidence that they could make it from that far, and that's what they need. They need a little bit of confidence right now because they're playing a little too passive to play without any confidence, if that makes any sense.
It's the hardest shot to hit in Rocket League, those wide open nets, and the Soul did not miss that time around. Engineer's going to put this one just a little bit wide, and now maybe a little bit of renewal here for the side of Dionysus. Superman to the backboard, an opportunity here for Soul. Bends one out to the middle of the field. Engineer thinks better of that challenge, will fake it and take a step back. Soul all the way up, an opportunity. Superman on the follow, but again, this can't find the shot. Now an opportunity in transition, breaking out downfield. Mandark to the backboard. D-Machine almost had the follow-up there and just put it a little bit wide. Gravitational will come away empty-handed on that trip down the field, and Dionysus is still holding on to this 1-goal lead. If I'm Dionysus right now, they can't fall into the trap of, all right, we've got our 1-goal lead, let's sit back and defend. You've got to score another. You've got to put at least one more in the game to really secure this and keep your series alive.
You're darn right. That's not a good touch. Mandark can't get the touch they're looking for, but it does end up landing in front of Enigma, and Enigma's really not missed from there pretty much all series long. Superman trying to make a play on it, but again, Enigma there and all over the place. I think that's pretty much all series long.
Enigma has kind of just been able to show up wherever they want to. D-Machine almost poked that one around Engineer for a kickoff goal. A good back pass to Mandark, maybe a little bit too heavy even from D-Machine. Mandark couldn't quite find the shot, but just some miscommunication here in the midfield is going to be an odd man rush for Gravitational. Superman can't find it off the backboard. It's down to Engineer, who makes a strong save out through midfield. D-Machine will fake that one. Soul is going to have a moment to collect themselves. A good chip, but didn't have the follow-up. Mandark on the read to put it back down in, and through halftime, 1-1 here in game number 4. Dionysus have lost their lead, but it is not all done yet. There's still a half a Rocket League to play, and an opportunity for Dionysus to take their first win now that they've found their first goal. Superman to the box. Mandark just in time to sweep that one away. A good 50 from Soul is going to keep the pressure going for Dionysus. Whifty in the corner. Still an opportunity here for Dionysus, and they're not going to be able to get back on this one with enough pace, so it'll at least be a momentary breath for Gravitational. Soul wins the 50 underneath. Enigma on the respawn gets the save, and it's still 1-1. Not like this, not like this, not like this. Engineer will not have to make any save there. It was real close to an own goal. But yeah, I mean, a minute and a half left, and I'm scared for Dionysus.
Yes, it feels like everything is starting to go Gravitational's way right now. The momentum is starting to move down there. It does feel like the Dionysus team is slightly going uphill when they go to Gravitational's side, but it doesn't mean anything right now. They scored first. They can do it again, as Superman's going to get it around D-Machine, but not able to get anything off it as a good pass from D-Machine back to Enigma, although that's going to hit off the corner a little awkwardly. Mandark's going to miss. Can Engineer come up with anything? Good demo. Machine there going to get it away, and they've got plenty of opportunity to waste some time, get a good pass here. Nobody
pre-jumped that.
Enigma definitely wanted that one real bad, as they have been trying to read everything. This ball's hit up the back wall. D-Machine with a great touch, and they took the lead with 47 seconds. Oh no. God, what's
when
up?
when you've got three players who are confident putting the ball to the center, finishing on centered balls, and playing defense, it is really hard to break it down. And all three players for Gravitational have put in work on both ends of the pitch. A goal from D Machine there could potentially be the championship winner for Gravitational. If they can hold on for 40 more seconds, they will have this one in the bag. Soul looking for the redirect, can't quite find it. D Machine will at least pop it out. Engineer, an angled shot from out wide. Enigma tracking it all the way in, a good save. Soul wraps this one through the ramp in the corner, and Mandark has the touch for boost on the sidewall for Superman. He gets one touch to keep it here in the blue end, but won't be able to follow it up. Enigma faking it out over midfield. D-Machine also with a fake. Engineer will have the touch and gives the possession away. Probably the worst touch there. An opportunity, though, as we're under 10 seconds for Superman. He's got nothing in the tank. Feeds it out to Soul. The bump in midair, but Gravitational gets the clear. 0 seconds. A last gasp effort will have to be in the cards for Dionysus. But instead, it's still up, and there it is. Finally, the hype was coming, but at the end of the day, we are one goal away from a perfect sweep, and Gravitational, well deserving of the hype that was almost there as they almost found a third goal. Your Season 15 Contender champions. We blew through this series, but man, it was tight all the way through, even though it's a 4-0 sweep, 3 one-goal games.
Yes, and then one of them was kind of a big one. They had that was a if it rains it pours game. I have to say, Dionysus, congratulations! You guys did awesome to get here, but Gravitational played so well. You mentioned their defensive rotations were awesome. Their offensive rotations were awesome. When it came down to them having, when the Dionysus had the ball in their zone for an extended period of time, nothing was quality. They played such great team Rocket League ball, in my opinion.
Really did. It was a full team effort. All three players on the pitch getting it done and punching that one through. It was a pretty quick move there through the contender final, since it was, for the most part, pretty low-scoring game. So we kind of ripped through that one. If you had to pick an MVP for that match, KG, I know that our opinion matters not because it does come down to the players, but I want to hear what you think.
I would say Enigma. I sort of said that in the beginning. I didn't really call them to be the MVP, but I did call them out to sort of set the pace, and they were all over the place. And then honestly, if I had to pick somebody else, Agent Mandark played so well, and then ended up having a great last game. It's kind of a toss-up in my opinion between the two. But then I also want to say D Machine played excellent, excellent defense, and I don't want to take anything away from them, but it's my opinion, Enigma.
I would be inclined to agree. I do feel like the general viewership here could potentially be on our side in the same thought, but we will have to see. We'll see what all of that looks like, and we do know our next matchup here, our premier matchup. We didn't tell you about it at the beginning, but we know who it is now. Our premier matchup, which is coming up here very soon. Fettuccine Force, the 1 seed, facing off against the Megalodons, the 2 seed. So we've got
Ooh.
Italian Battalion and Shark Attack represented here in the Premier Grand Finals, and another. I mean, we're so lucky here, KG, because we get to go from Contender, where anything can happen, to Premier, where literally everything happens.
That's right, and I love I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the underdog story. I love how when you see a lower seed win, but it's the 1-2. It's the two top teams, and you kind of can't ask for more when it comes to something so high level, and then it's the top two teams going against each other. This is it. There's no room for debate. Whoever wins, wins.
Whoever wins wins, and also gets the bragging right of being the verifiable, because Premier is our top tier team, the top tier being the best team in RSC, just by the way that everything kind of lines up. But I guess that also kind of depends on who you ask. Not really that important. We're gonna take a look at the team stats here. Megalodons, Fettuccine Force, to Shark Attack, a well-established franchise in RSC. Italian Battalion, a relative newcomer on the block, in the grand scheme of things here. But two teams that ground their way through the Premier season. It is a slog sometimes to get all the way through. 14, 15 match days. It's a lot of Rocket League to be played, and at this high level, it's even more magnified at that point. But again, very even stats all the way across the board, especially looking in like the saves against department, almost dead even, and then a little bit of a push as far as goals for. The offense of Fettuccine Force just a little bit more potent than Megalodons, but two very evenly matched teams here by the stats. Anything that's sticking out to you, KG?
The Megalodons seem to be a teeny bit more defensive, and I say teeny just because of the stats are pretty darn even, like you said, and the Fettuccine Force seem to be just at a little bit skewed towards the offensive side. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Megalodons can kind of throw a little bit of wrench in the Fettuccine Force and put a lot more pressure on them than the Fettuccine Force can put that would normally put on their opposite team.
Absolutely. And we'll take a look at our player stats here to break down this matchup a little bit further. Fettuccine Force will be represented Alfredo, Peaceful, Delta, and Cart. Alfredo, if I'm not mistaken, if he's not currently, was the originator of Italian Battalion. I know that for a fact. So if he wasn't the GM, or if he's not the GM now, he was the GM at one point. We'll leave that there. Megalodons, Marshall, Seasick, Payne, and Shaner Banner. Like I said, Megalodons have been around, just kind of sticking around in the finals in most tiers. I feel like we can always just kind of count on Shark Attack to have a team in the finals. So a team that knows how to win, a franchise that knows how to win, going up against Fettuccine Force here. Also, if you've been around RSC for a while, there are names on both these teams that you will recognize. So there is a lot coming up here. Cart is in the chat. He wants us to talk about how bad he is, but 16 goals, 16 assists, 62 shots. I mean, the shooting percentage could be better, but I don't play in Premiere, so everything is better than what I've got. And KG, I'd love to hear your thoughts here on these the 8 players here that we have a potential to see tonight.
Well, to be honest, it kind of looks like they have on the Megalodon side a relatively set. It seems to be Marshall, Seasick, and Payne on the opposite side, Fettuccine Force. I'm curious to see. You said Cart's in the chat, but that doesn't mean they're not playing, as it could be either one, Delta or Cart. So I'm a little curious to see as the Italian Battalion who they start this particular game.
Absolutely. And we are also curious to see what all of you in chat think, because you obviously know more than we do. So make sure you get in on the prediction before it is timed out for this next matchup. Make sure you put those nice RSC points on the line. And if you pick right, get that nice payout. We've got players joining in here, so we'll be able to get started soon and not have to vamp for much, much longer. But I am just excited to get to see some top level, top tier Rocket League. We saw Contender last. We didn't really talk about the skill level or the tiers before we got into that one, because we just kind of jumped right into it. But Contender was like mid diamond.
Give or take, yep.
Premier is literally our top tier, like 1700 and up. We're talking the cream of the crop, guys that are hitting SSL, grinding it out each season. So some very potent offenses, some very stout defenses coming up, and this is literally as good as it gets. KG, we've got all of our players in. We're looking like we're ready to get going here, and I'm just so excited to see what we've got coming up.
Yes, I agree 100%. The when you get to the scrutiny on some of the plays and the misses are going to be a little bit higher, as the Contender series, as you could tell, had a decent amount of misses. That's just kind of how it is when you get to that level. Up here, the misses will matter a lot more as teams punish you, as Peaceful and Payne meeting in the middle. That's a bit interesting, as Marshall's going to take it off the wall, try to put it on goal. Payne meeting and almost scoring that, but it's going to hit off the post, and this is what I'm talking about. That was basically a design play. They knew what they were doing right there, and they pushed a lot of people forward to do it. This ball is going to be a little bit dangerous, and nothing going right there. Marshall missing that one. Seasick taking over as Delta trying to make a play, but Seasick and Delta missing that one, as Peaceful keeping it in the corner and not letting a center happen, although Peaceful kind of backflipping it towards the center, but the good 50 keeping it away, as they are now able to get it to the Megalodon side, but Seasick hitting it towards Marshall, who actually deflects it towards the goal. That would have been an on goal, and that's a shot on goal. Opposite side, Seasick can't quite get that one. Payne keeping it in, and the play a minute in, a lot faster than we saw before, and both teams still feeling each other out, but it kind of seems like it's anybody's game at this point.
they really did just kind of jump straight into this one. There was no waiting to get that pace ratcheted all the way up to 11. And you touched briefly earlier, KG, on how misses are going to be punished more here in the Premier Tier, and that much is kind of predicated on the fact that misses just happen a little bit less, or at least misses that are not expected happen a little bit less, all the way up here in SSL region, Delta with the SSL tournament winner tag. So we know we've got at least one, or somebody that has hit it at least once here in the lobby. So, very talented Rocket League players. The pace of play, the misses being punished, and then also, oh man, I had a third really great analysis point that is now just escaped from my brain. Maybe it'll come back to me. If it does come back to me, I'll be sure to say something about it. But here, 2 minutes in almost to game number 1, only 3 shots on goal from both these teams because the rotations are just so quickly. But just like that, it's Alfredo that tucks one in under the crossbar for Fettuccine Force, and we've got our first goal of this Season 15 Premier Finals on the board.
I like that little pass. It's like he pushed the ball down with the bottom of his car, and it just kind of forced it to Alfredo. And Alfredo, great read. And yeah, it opens it up right away. 3 minutes to go is plenty of time for Megalodons. And again, this is game 1. Lots of things can happen, but that's good play by the Fettuccine Force. Makes it really exciting, as sometimes goals can be a little bit boring if they're just nice and wide open, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get very many nice and wide open goals here in the Premier Tier. Oh, I remember what my point was before. The boost game. The boost game is so much more critical here in these upper levels, because you've got to be able to get up to challenge balls in the air. You can't wait for them to come to you, because as soon as you wait, your opponents are going to be right on that, and the ball's going to be in the back of your net. So boost game is huge, and I think those 3 things, pace of play, punishing on the misses, and boost playing a huge part, are 3 of the things that really set upper tier Rocket League apart from all the others. As Peaceful gets a flip reset here, tries to work it into the middle, doesn't quite get enough to put it past Seasick for the second goal for Fettuccine Force. But now 2 minutes left here in game number 1. Delta to the backboard, and Alfredo's got the read. If the ball touches the backboard, nobody's there to defend in Premier. It's almost always a goal, and Fettuccine Force turn it in 2-0 here in game 1.
You're darn right. It's almost always that type of a goal. They read the ball very well up here, and it's a nice, refreshing thing to see, because it can be hard for a lot of players to read those, especially when you've got a lot of pressure. I mean, it's the championships. You've got a lot riding on this, and that was a good play. And I love the conviction when you get up to these tiers. I love how they make decisions. It's almost like whether or not it's a good one, they have the conviction of this is what's going to happen. You can't have that the rocking back and forth of the car. So it is a good thing to see that the players just go for it. As a good demo by Marshall, it was a double demo actually. I thought Marshall did the demoing, and it wasn't the case. Seasick saving Alfredo's shot, had a chance. Delta centering it, Marshall up a lot faster than that, and that ball's going to go inside the Fettuccine corner. Alfredo centering it to Payne, but Payne not able to get the touch. I don't think they expected it, giving it right back to Alfredo, who tries to flip it over Seasick, but Seasick with a nice read, and that ball is going to go to the opposite side. Pinch. This is going to hit off the ceiling. Back wall. Can anybody read it? No, they can't. And that could have been a little bit dangerous. That little bit of deflection off the ceiling was a little bit awkward, and that could have given another goal. But Payne going to get it the opposite side. Delta stopping it. Alfredo going to try to get there. Can't get it, as Marshall and Payne with a double save by the teammates. And this is right back to the center, unfortunately. And Fettuccine Force keeping that ball in, as Delta's going to score, just as I was trying to give it to.
It's a punished miss. I mean, the point was made for me right here, KG. You didn't even need to throw it to me. It was perfectly timed. Just a sheer miss on the backboard, as it is, coming down to crunch time here. So you've got to expect that it is the Megalodons trying to push downfield a little bit more, but instead it is just another goal on the board for Fettuccine Force, and a punished miss as Marshall squeezes one in here, a tight window. Some life here for the Megalodons. There's only 20 seconds left, but it's more than enough time to be able to score 2 more. Really tight, almost a little bit of an own goal. Delta there on the backboard, not really the wrong play to make there, because if the ball was a little bit closer in, to the bottom left-hand corner. Delta's got to make that save. Just an unfortunate time touch. You know that Delta's been playing Rocket League for a while because he's still using the Batmobile. Peaceful is going to ice this one, though, pretty much off the kickoff. Fettuccine Force, you know, got a little excited there as Megalodons put one in the bin, but let's all calm down. It's looking like Fettuccine Force will take game one.
Oh, yeah, 16 seconds this high up. Actually, not even just this high up. It's really hard to score 3 goals in 16 seconds. You kind of have to have everything go right. But Alfredo's going to get this one. Can Marshall go up there? Yes, they do. Those elbow pads working real nice right now. And that's actually going to be a centered Alfredo. Delta's going to try to, he does hit it backwards. I actually feel like they were going for goal. That's my opinion, and I'm going to stick with it. Delta keeping it in the air. Seasick as well. And now it's just for posterity as can they get another goal? And I call this, even though this is, it's a time like this where you just go for it and do your best to try to keep it up. And fortunately, they couldn't.
They could not, and you know, it's I don't think anybody would be holding it against them here. Megalodons dropping game number 1 by 3. Fettuccine Force, a pretty dominant game number 1 win there. I think Megalodons made it interesting, and then Fettuccine Force immediately made it not interesting again. They put 9 shots on the board, a pretty good outing. Striking for Fettuccine Force, turning 4 of those in, and Megalodons just really never found a way to get that offensive attack gelling through that first game, whether that's just them kind of getting warmed up here heading into game number 2, or if Fettuccine Force just has that extra step is yet to be seen. But definitely looking to see a little bit more out of Payne, especially. Had a great game in the midfield, just looking to maybe see them contribute a little bit more towards the striking side. But Megalodons have got to find a way to shut down Alfredo specifically, because Alfredo found a way to put 5 shots all alone on the Megalodons net, one more than the entirety of the Megalodons did as a team.
Yes, and that is a little bit dangerous for you. Opposite team, of course, the Megalodons. You don't want to see that. I agree with you on the Payne side. Maybe just a little bit of a factor on the offensive side, or maybe try to get something going. That being said, I think that the Megalodons just maybe let their nerves drop a little bit. They've had a couple of misses here and there, and a couple of missed touches. So I think you just got to calm down. A lot of opportunity, a lot of time. There's still possibly 6 more games to play as Payne demoing Peaceful, going for goal. Delta can't quite get that. Marshall trying to clean up, and Delta not able to get the save. And that opens it up 13 seconds in. A lot different start for them.
Pretty much the perfect start if you are a supporter of the Megalodons. Great finish from Marshall. Almost the same finish that we saw in game number 1. Marshall putting a shot on, Delta almost making a save, but Marshall just having a little bit too much sauce on it, and ending up finding the first goal for the Megalodons. It's a good start for them here. Payne ends up bailing them out of what was a kind of looked like a triple commit from our angle. Payne got a good 50 downfield. Delta's going to look to crank one at the backboard. Seasick had the read. Marshall with a follow-up off the ceiling. Another touchdown. Seasick's there. Payne just clearing the way, literally dropping the hammer all the way down the pitch, but the shot wasn't on frame, and now Delta opportunity with speed down the side. Marshall will turn it right back around, though, trying to win the foot race. Alfredo got the touch and was demoed for his efforts. Payne, a 50 to the backboard. Seasick with a boost in the tank now, an opportunity to try to force a middle, but Alfredo slips underneath the challenge, and Megalodons will have to go back to the drawing board once again.
Oh, that was a good play by Alfredo. Was in the right spot, decent pass, a good read by the Megalodons. Seasick getting that one away, and Delta's trying to get it away from Seasick. Does Payne right there. Ball's going to hit off the ceiling. Alfredo with a great read. Payne trying to get it to Marshall, who was able to get it in front of Peaceful, but Delta's going to try to catch this ball. It gets a little bit of a miss. Seasick having an opportunity here as Alfredo's able to go get away from it. Can't quite get it around Alfredo, who's able to read it very well, and it's continuing good play from the first game into the second game as Payne, getting demoed by Delta, but is able to get it right back to the Fettuccine Force side. And while the Megalodons have done a good job of keeping the ball on the Fettuccine Force side, the Fettuccine Force have really done a good job of making a lot of their touches a little bit more quality.
Yeah, and it's just finding a way to work that quality down to the other end of the pitch that Fettuccine Force have really got to put together here in game number 2. It has been a pretty tight affair from both sides. Only 3 shots total as Marshall just barely is able to evade the bump to make the stop, and now with 0 boost is going to turn it into a shot the other way. Delta had the save after the respawn. A midfield pass to Alfredo that's just barely saved away in time by Payne. Alfredo keeps this one in. We're through halftime here in game number 2, and the Megalodons have got a lead. They're holding on to this 1-goal lead as Marshall looks for another ball to the center of the pitch. Peaceful turns the save into a shot all the way downfield. C6 slows it down. It's still out, and Alfredo will get the credit, putting it over the line. We're level here in game 2.
Oh, I almost wanted I wanted to say what a save, because it was a really good save, but that ball just, unfortunately, that last miss at the end, they needed that to be cleared. But we have an even Steven game right here, and 2:17 to go. There's plenty of time for both teams. Nice demo on Alfredo, and I think that's what you got to do. You got to get Alfredo off of their game a little bit, because they're playing very well these past 2 games, even though technically right now they're lower on the points. That really doesn't matter. That ball's a shot. Great shot by Payne to answer that one right back. I love that.
This is what you need. This is Premier in a nutshell. The huge redirect from Payne. All 3 defenders for Fettuccine Force in the shot there as Payne found the redirect. It's never what you want to see, because that means there's nobody in the goal. And when there's nobody in the goal, it's really hard to defend. So the Megalodons finding a way to be able to break down that defense, and even if it is on the back of an insane mechanical play, that is what Premier is all about. The mechanics are so huge as Delta forces another good 50. Seasick with a soft touch finds Marshall on the sidewall. Alfredo, though, up pretty early to deny any chance of the Megalodons breakout for just a moment. They looked like they might have been able to push that one through midfield, but a good 50 will at least force them back for a moment. Almost again on the crossing route there over midfield. Payne trying to take it away from Seasick, just millimeters off of the pinch. And the Megalodons are really turning up the wick here towards the end of game number 2. The offense starting to come alive for Shark Attack.
Yeah, they're definitely putting a lot more pressure and keeping it. Now they're keeping it in Fettuccine Force's zone, and it's starting to put a little bit on them. The demos are there. Alfredo's had a little bit of a rough time here, although this is a great pass here. Wow, that hits off the crossbar, and unfortunately, that could have been the equalizer, but under a minute to go, that one doesn't quite go in. So Fettuccine Force down 1, still needing a little bit more to get back into this game. Delta missing that one. Alfredo sending it down, but Payne going to hit that one away opposite side. Seasick and Delta meeting. That ball's going to go careening the opposite side, but Marshall meeting that one. Delta demoing Payne. A little bit too little too late right now, as Payne able to hit that one to the side. So under 30 seconds to go here. Fettuccine Force. Oh, this is going to be a miss and a goal by Marshall. Good catch, and that really pulls it away.
See, now we sound like we know what we're talking about, because every time somebody's missed a ball like that, there's been a goal scored pretty much immediately after it. So we can talk about it being a fake or like calculated or something, but at the end of the day, if you miss the ball when everything is moving this quickly, it is not going to end well for you. And Fettuccine Force finding that out here for themselves in game number 2, as Megalodons now 10 seconds away from being able to make this a 1-1 series. Alfredo's at least going to try to make it a 1-goal game, and it'll end up in the backboard. Peaceful with the credit on the drive, and 7 seconds left. Fettuccine Force still in this one with a shout.
There's definitely time here, especially in the upper echelons like this, where you have the ability to keep the ball in the air a lot easier. Well, easier, I use that in quotes. But a lot more consistently. Thank you. A lot more consistently than this is a chance. Delta's going back wall, looking for a double tap, missing the double tap, and that's what you needed. They might not have had enough boost in there, just didn't read it. And Megalodons taking this one, and that's an even series if I'm not mistaken.
That is an even series. You are correct. Payne with the goal of the game, I would say, in that second one, the nasty redirect to put the Megalodons up. And Fettuccine Force keeping it close all the way at down to the very end, scoring a goal with 7 seconds left, but definitely just a little bit too late to make that much of a real push at a comeback for game number 2. It's a great response from Megalodons to be able to come out, Game number 1 didn't quite bounce their way. Game number 2, they had it wire to wire. It is a great attempt here, or a great outcome here for Megalodons in game number 2. And now, headed into game number 3, Fettuccine Force have got to make an adjustment now. I mean, Megalodons made it in response, and now Fettuccine Force has got to find a way to come back in game number 2. Anything you're looking to see from them, KG?
Well, I think the Megalodons did a good job of kind of not taking Alfredo out, but making them think a little bit more about their situation. They're not as comfortable as they were the first game. But that being said, Alfredo did have 1 goal on 0 shots. So I'm not sure if they really took him out of the game.
That is true, and when you can score without ever actually needing to shoot on the net, it's never a bad look. But the Fettuccine Force doing so great at crashing the net, being able to force those 50s to pop out into really dangerous zones of the Megalodon's defensive end, as Payne has a drive to kick off game number 3, just barely saved away by Delta. But immediately, Megalodons coming out swinging is exactly what their game plan needs to be. They need to keep this offense humming, because if they can just force Fettuccine Force into their corner for the entire game, not give them any opportunities to break out and score, it is going to be real hard for them to find those passing connections, as we almost see one come together for Delta and Alfredo. Delta's going to have to make the save there. Seasick with a miss. Payne underneath of it. Dices it through the bump on Peaceful, and Payne bullying his way in. It's a 1-goal lead for the Megalodons once again.
I'm going with a fake by Seasick. I actually, in my opinion, Seasick definitely faked that. Thought made everybody think they were going to bang the ball against the wall, and a good job by Payne to catch that and make a really nice play as a double 50, almost a triple 50 in the center. I love seeing that, where all 6 players meet and the ball doesn't go anywhere. It's just like the ball decides, no, I'm just like a rock. But instead, Fettuccine Force trying to keep it in. Good 50s in the air here, so the ball's kind of stayed in the center ever since that particular goal. Payne taking the center, but not hitting it really hard. Seasick going another kind of weak touch, as the 2 opportunities to score right there didn't quite happen. Alfredo can't get it past Seasick. Payne's going to try to center it, nobody there for the Megalodons, and unfortunately that ball could have been something, although Marshall, a 50 pinch leading to goal, didn't go in, as the awareness by both Fettuccine Force and Megalodons is absolutely wonderful right now. 3:30 to go in this game. Demo by Peaceful. A 3-on-2 here, but that ball's going to go right into Marshall's lap, as Delta wasn't able to dribble it the way that they were looking for. And even though the Megalodons have a 1-0 lead right now, the Fettuccine Force are putting a little bit of pressure on them, although Seasick had a chance here and Alfredo was able to turn him away.
Megalodons looking like they're more than happy to sit back and absorb this pressure from Fettuccine Force and then turn it into offensive chances the other way, as Payne almost on the end of their 2nd goal of the game. Seasick looking for the Doomsy, but Peaceful will guide that one away. Marshall another touch. Payne underneath of it gets it around Peaceful. Alfredo's got it covered on the backboard, but will have it dunked away by Payne. Delta waving at that one at the near post. The Peaceful will guide it across, but Seasick keeping the ball in here for the Megalodons. Marshall doing his job over on the opposite side. Payne to the backboard. Marshall looking for the bump. He gets Peaceful to go off the ceiling, and Payne secures the brace. Megalodons 2-0 in game 2.
What a Payne, excellent work, able to read it, basically pinch it in almost right there. That was a tough goal to score. 235, weird angle, great read. So Payne having an excellent game 3 here. 4 shots, 2 goals, and they're going for another one here, and not quite, because Delta's able to read that. Peaceful getting it right back. Seasick is going to hit it towards Delta, who's going up for it. Great bump! What a beautiful bump on the back end, and that is great awareness.
Maybe this is what the Fettuccine Force needed to be able to open things up. Peaceful gets the helper for the touch too, the back pass to Delta, and then getting the dirty work done on the goal line with a bump. Fettuccini Force within 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in game number 3 of a tied series. Alfredo turns this one around on the sidewall, trying to force a favorable 50. A whiff in the middle, though, and Payne just barely unable to secure the hat trick. Alfredo gets the save, and he's going to keep Fettuccini Force in this game number 3. Payne tries to rip one in, almost staples it to the underside of the crossbar, but instead it's another good 50. Marshall looking for the bump. Delta will take Seasick off the pitch. Probably a better look here for the Megalodons now as it frees Payne up to go for that cross, and eventually it'll be Peaceful finding Delta on the sidewall. Then Alfredo downfield, an opportunity here for Fettuccini Force out with speed, and Peaceful just couldn't quite cut back on the ball there for the challenge after getting bumped. Payne with a fake. Alfredo makes the save, but now once again Megalodons back on the attack here, trying to find another goal to add to their lead here in game 3.
Oh, this has a chance here. Waterfall down. Can they read it? Wow. Oh my goodness. I don't blame them for missing that one. I don't. That's a tough sell. The ball is hit really hard. It waterfalls down. I don't have much to say on that.
No, I mean, the guillotine was something of beauty there. And then the fact that Alfredo and Peaceful were both right underneath of that one to pinch it in, and it pinched in off of the post. So many things had to go right there for Fettuccini Force to find that goal, but find it they did. They've got themselves tied up here, and they're going to just drop it as Alfredo smacks this one into his own goal. It's Marshall with the go-ahead for the Megalodons, and just an unlucky break for Fettuccini Force.
And it almost looked like Marshall was bumped into by Payne right there, and I think he did. He hit him into that ball a little bit, and that's just like a great team effort. Payne 6 shots, 2 goals, but they're definitely all over the place, trying to get into every play. Alfredo trying to air dribble it down. Good stop by Marshall, although Peaceful going to read it. Can't get it over, does get over Payne, but can't get it under the crossbar, and that was the equalizer they were looking for. Under a minute to go. Marshall, they're going to beat Delta. No, they pull away just in time. It looked like Delta was going to win that one. Ooh. Delta does win that 50. Opportunity here. Delta with a great demo, and that led the charge like a fullback, clearing the way.
Really did, just to clear this lane out. Seasick had taken off the pitch, and Alfredo's got a wide open goal to drive into. We've got a tie scoreline in game number 3. It's 3 aside, and Fettuccini Force have really started to flex the muscles a little bit. It's gotten them 2 goals here in this 3rd game, and the Megalodons haven't quite figured out the answer for it yet. So we'll see if Fettuccini Force continue to go to that demo meta. I mean, it has been an established and very hard to counter tactic in high-level Rocket League for so long now. So it's kind of surprised me it's taken one of these teams this long to kind of move towards it. But the Megalodons still with the opportunities to be able to work the ball downfield. They'll get a save here as Alfredo trying to jam it around all 3 defenders. A mistouch by Peaceful is going to be a shot, but Peaceful just enough in the tank for the save. Payne with the whifty above the blue box. 0's on the clock. Will we see overtime? Peaceful, Delta to the backboard, crossbar to the floor, overtime, game 3.
Oh my goodness, that could have ended it, but that ball was just, I would say, 3/4 in, if that's how it felt like to me. But instead, we have an overtime, and Marshall trying to get it around Peaceful. That's a center. Payne going for it, and it goes down, and it's going to hit off the crossbar. Another opportunity to end this by Payne. 7 shots, 2 goals, and they still keep going for it. I don't think they should stop. Marshall trying to get it off the back wall and going for a pass, but nothing coming from it. So Delta and Seasick are going to try to meet. Delta getting it over Seasick, but Payne able to get backup defense. Seasick with a great pass to Payne. That hit off the ceiling, and that made it dangerous, but again, nothing coming from that one. Peaceful and Alfredo meeting. That ball is going to stay inside the Fettuccini Force territory. A demo in the back end from Alfredo. Marshall missing it, and unfortunately that was another opportunity that doesn't come in, but the ball's still in the Fettuccini Force side.
Marshall looking for the bump there, actually. He is out of boost, just trying to bump the last defender off, trying to buy a little bit of time. It almost worked. Delta flicks this one on. Peaceful tries to bend it in at the negative angle, but nobody can work it through for Fettuccini Force, so we remain in overtime here in game number 3. Payne with some space, tries to put it to the middle, but Peaceful makes the save. Marshall crashing in from backfield now, looking for Payne in the center, but Delta makes the stop. Peaceful dunked away by C6. Still the Megalodons on the attack here. Wide angle shot from Marshall, saved by Alfredo on the back post rotation. Payne cutting in front here. He's got possession. A little bit of boost to work with, trying to force a 50. Marshall steals the corner. Looks for the centering ball. Good 50 there to keep it in the blue end at least. And Alfredo will be first there to chip it out over midfield. Gets the 50 as well. Now Marshall taking control. Can't get it around Peaceful. Dump down into the orange end. And Fettuccine Force will retreat to grab some more boost. Delta with a stop. Alfredo up in the air. Throw this one downfield. Just trying to do the dump and run strat. Megalodons turn it right back. A bump off of Peaceful. And nobody really crashing in on that one. 2 minutes gone in overtime here in game number 3. Nobody wants to be the person that makes the mistake that'll end the game as Marshall evades the demos and is there for the save. We continue on here in game 3. Fettuccine Force knocking on the door. Megalodons will not break though.
Oh, this Peaceful had a chance there. Good defense by the Megalodons, who, like you said, aren't breaking right now, but both teams aren't breaking. This is actually pretty intense on both sides. The 50 that's going to lead a little bit into the front. Can C6 get a save? They do. Alfredo just can't quite get that, and the bump doesn't come to fruition either, as Delta is going to hit it into the corner. And another decent opportunity. It does not come, as we are more than a half a game into the overtime. Ball's on the Megalodon side now. That Megalodons are trying to get it out. Peaceful keeping it in. That ball's going to hit it off ceiling. I think Marshall is able to hit it off to the side and get the save for that, as Delta trying to keep it in, getting it over C6. Can't get it over Marshall. Payne going for it, and Alfredo and Payne fighting for that one. Well, I'd say Alfredo winning that one, and Alfredo just taking over, and Payne deciding to win that one, but Peaceful there to get it, prevent Marshall from coming in and having a straight shot. And right away, back and forth, the fight, and a lot of hits. And a lot of swings, a lot of jabs. Everything's coming for both teams, and they're both weathering the storm very, very well. And we're coming on 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and it feels like there's still a lot here as Delta missing it. Still a lot of Rocket League to play right here with a good demo in the back end.
It is a close one for sure. Both teams taking shots downfield. Nobody really looking to just passively take this one, but it will be Delta. And the 1v1 downfield just barely managed to scoop underneath of it. And it is a winner in overtime. Almost 4 minutes played. Fettuccine Force will take the lead in the series once again. What an OT.
My goodness, Marshall looking, unfortunately dives over him. Doesn't get the bump on it, and it kind of helps lead to Delta getting it away from the last defender. And I feel like Marshall, I don't understand how it didn't get a touch. It just ended up missing and matrixing right over Delta.
It is a tough read. The Batmobile hitbox can be kind of strange to find sometimes, but Fettuccine Force riding a very physical game style in game number 3 to a victory. They take the lead in the series, but just an absolute barn burner for game number 3. A total of 13 shots for Fettuccine Force, 12 shots for Megalodons. Just the save numbers, very fast math. 9 saves for Fettuccine Force, 5 saves for Megalodons. Just so close all the way down the stretch, but it was the bumps in the demos that made the difference for Fettuccine Force, and Megalodons just couldn't quite work themselves into that window to be able to counter it. The speed of Fettuccine Force really making it hard for the Megalodons to be able to find those like quick breaks when you overcommit and anything like that. You know, it's a tough balance to strike, but Fettuccine Force doing it perfectly in game number 3, and now game number 4 coming up. Megalodons, they've got to answer back. It has been the trading of games so far. Can Megalodons keep the trend up here and make it a 2-2 series? 5 minutes on the clock. Game number 4 underway here, and the Megalodons playing from behind in the series once again.
Yes, Megalodons obviously had a game 2 win. They can easily do it. Well, easily, quote unquote, but they can definitely do it. Payne going for a chance, and a nice little hit away by the Fettuccine Force. This doesn't go. They're back and forth right off the bat. 30 seconds in, Payne trying to make a play. It seems like they're playing a little bit aggressive, not like over aggressive, just really bit aggressive. And unfortunately, nothing coming about 30 seconds in. There's not much to talk about, as both teams are kind of playing a little bit sporadic, if that makes any sense.
There definitely is moments of brilliance from both sides, and Peaceful is going to find one for themselves here all the way off the ceiling, boost down to the floor, saves that flip until the last moment, and chips it over both defenders. Payne probably not expecting that one to have the loft that it did, and instead of hanging back, challenge a little bit too soon. Fettuccine Force sneak the first goal of game number 4 away here. They've got a lead early in this one, and it is definitely a good spot for them to be. Seasick just barely a step behind, turning that one into a goal. Peaceful looking for the brace, and it's saved away just by the nose of the dominance of Payne. And now it's an opportunity for Fettuccine Force to add to this lead as the boost for the the defense for the Megalodons is boost starved right now, really struggling to be able to generate those resources. But now Marshall and Payne both boosted up, and they'll get the clear all the way out. Peaceful giveaway. Marshall and Payne both there, and Peaceful bails himself out with a save. It was hairy there for a moment for Fettuccine Force, and they come away unscathed. Still a 1-0 lead. And this game number 4 has just been chaos so far. I don't think it's not been clean. Like, I think game number 3 was a very clean game between these two teams. This one is not. This one's messy, it's dirty, and this is where these premier players shine, because it's all about the improv. It's all about reacting as quickly as possible, and then it's the teams that win in this situation, these kind of games, these chaotic games, are the teams that trust their teammates and the ones that communicate or have a form of communicating well. A rotation like that is tough, although I guess it was Delta that got the bump there. I thought it was a team bump of 2 players rotating into each other at the mid boost, but instead it's just really good physical ball from the Fettuccine Force, and they just kind of, dive at everything and keep it, just nothing looks the way that either team is expecting it to. It's all over the places. This one comes out to the middle. The bump from Marshall, and Payne squeezes it in to the bottom left-hand corner. This is it. This is the dirty, grungy, very scrappy Rocket League that the Megalodons need to find, and they put it in. It's 1-1 in game 4.
I love the placement from Payne too. Great teamwork by both players right there. The open up from the bump on Alfredo was absolutely key. Peaceful, nice demo on Seasick, but I don't think too much is going to come from that, as Seasick is already back. But yes, what a beautiful play. That ball is going to hit off the back wall. Can anybody read that? Marshall with a good touch, but Peaceful's there. And you were right. It's not that it's sloppy. I don't want to say this is sloppy gameplay. It's just not refined. They aren't really rotating per se. They're reacting, and it's a great thing to see. And that last goal was a kind of a reaction goal from the Megalodons.
And all the speed, you turn it into offense by finding those bumps, finding those demos, and then just having somebody flying at the ball at all times. It's hard to sustain, because as soon as you drop behind your opponents in the boost game, you're pretty much dead on arrival in this kind of strategy. But when it works, when you're in that boost rhythm, you've got your timings going, and then your rotations look clean, as that one left a little bit too long by the defense of the Megalodons. Alfredo puts one off the crossbar. Peaceful drops it back. Delta with another pass to the center, but both attackers there between Alfredo and Peaceful stacked up. But man, what happened to the defense of the Megalodons here? Gummed up, all 3 caught in the net. Nobody knows who's going to go. Last man's demoed by Delta and Alfredo. Just the easiest goal that he might ever have. It's 2-1 once again for the Italian Battalion. Fettuccine Force, they continue to find ways to excel at this physical game, and even though the Megalodons are starting to work it in, it is still very much in favor of Fettuccine Force in that regard.
Yes, I agree, and this game feels like it's one of those games where it's not it just feels like it won't be the individual that makes everything happen. It's going to be somebody making those bumps, making those little demos in the back end, making those little touches that lead to like that the first hockey assist, if you will, the one that sets up the assist. I do love those, and it feels like that is way this is headed, because that right there, a nice play and a nice double tap off the back, but unfortunately nothing leading to it, and it just seems like these plays are aren't destined to go in. It's the ones that it's the gritty plays, like you said, the things that just where Rocket League is Rocket League, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all about that improv, especially at this high level. These players react to things so quickly, and once again, it's almost a broken play. You know, you're not going to find those drawn-up passes because your opponents see those coming too. It's just a better read from Payne, slips through the defense and finds an equalizer here late in game number 4 for the Megalodons. They're coming up on what could be a second consecutive overtime. We saw game number 3 go almost, we were like 4 minutes and 10 seconds in, I think. But
Yes.
not quite sure if we'll see that long of an overtime here. I would imagine neither of these teams quite want to go that long in the finals. Marshall up looking for the 50. Alfredo waved at it. Nobody finding it. An undefended backboard. Seasick can't find the shot. A rare miss. Everybody whizzes past it. Peaceful can't find it on the backboard, but Delta's got him covered. Now with zeros on the clock, one more opportunity for both these teams, and the ball will be guided down to the ground. Another overtime. 2 in a row. Over under, like an extra half here. I think we're going to get a quick overtime. Might be over before I'm done talking.
Ooh, then you actually, definitely, you're not almost wrong there, because Alfredo had a chance on that. Good demo, but Payne able to read it very well. Payne bumping Delta, but Peaceful there to back up his teammate and get this play. Although that is a great 50 read that Waterfall's down in front of the goal, and good read by the Fettuccine Forces. Another play here. And the opportunities are there, just everything's a little fast-paced. Delta having a chance is going to try to dribble it. Seasick, good read right there to stop that one, giving the Megalodons a chance here. Alfredo stopping it. That's a center, however, to Marshall. Marshall on target. Great job by Delta. Payne couldn't get in front of him to get enough of a distraction to get him to not save that. Marshall again, that's going to hit off crossbar. Seasick going to clean it up. And I think you were right. Even though it's a minute in, it's a much quicker overtime. Seasick ending this one.
Yeah, I don't think either of these teams are going to let this one go quite as long as the last overtime did. Seasick on the feed from Marshall. Again, an undefended backboard that will result in it being just pretty much a free net for Payne. For Seasick, rather, jams it in, and a Game 4 win for Megalodons. We're level in the series, 4 games through, 2 aside now, as it has been traded wins all the way through. First one to Fettuccine Force, and then bouncing back and forth all the way to Game 4. Neither team really able to assert themselves as the clear favorite, which is exactly what we want to see. We want to see this be tight all the way through. The Megalodons just finding that little bit of extra, just a little bit more at the very end than Fettuccine Force could. It comes down to, in this game, which was so scrappy from both sides all the way through, it really comes down to, in something like this, the team that makes the least amount of mistakes, because everything's going to be punished in Premier. It is all about who errs the least. And in this game, just by the slimmest of margins, because they made the error that led to the final goal, Megalodons are able to take it from Fettuccine Force.
Yes, and I'm very curious. I'm glad that there's another game here. It feels like it's even between both these teams. They're delivering some hits to each other. They're taking shots and they're getting shots in. I mean, both teams aren't they're not being phased by the goals either. That's they how do they're as I see people. I think we're having a little bit of delay in the start right now.
Yeah, it looks like we're good. Looks like Delta just crashed out of the lobby. Looks like everybody's here, and we should be good to go.
Yes.
But continuing on your point there of just the difference between these two teams and what's going right, going wrong here, because we basically got a best of 3 left now. So everything's on the table, as Delta, who had some issues there at the very beginning, is good. Delta's good here. He's fine. A triple commit in the corner for the Megalodons, a little unfortunate. And it's a first goal for Fettuccine Force. Just that this has been so tight, KG. There's so little space between these two teams. A goal like that is so critical for Fettuccine Force to get themselves up on the front foot early now, and they can try to change their game plan a little bit to go for this, as Payne looks for the solo play. Peaceful, a couple of touches, and then a critical 50 at the very end to guide that one to the corner. Delta with a good clear, Peaceful with a follow-up and another 50, but Seasick will pound this one to the backboard. Payne with a demo on Delta as well. It's going to free Peaceful up to go for this ball. Gets the 50. Alfredo following up. Another touch. Peaceful trying to take it away from Payne, but just can't quite get there in time. And now Marshall out in pursuit. Takes Delta off the pitch, but couldn't quite get the touch on the ball. Payne will gather it. Now Peaceful right back on it. A missed touch across the backboard, and Marshall this time will be there for the save. Fettuccine Force won't find another easy one. It could be an easy answer for Megalodons, but the shot follow-up from Seasick just wasn't good enough. Will remain a 1-0 lead for the Fettuccine Force. 1 minute gone here in game number 5, and what is actually a best of 3. We've got 3 games left in the series if we go all the way to 7. This game is huge for these two teams, who can take the win here and put themselves up, as Seasick, just shrugging off the bump, finds a goal here. Megalodons, I mean, what else can we really say, KG? It's a real close series.
This is a real close series. They're really meeting each other, and I feel like the responses from each game, the adjustments that they're making, is Peaceful going to nice little fake, but Marshall able to read that. Alfredo going up, maybe going for a flipper reset, doesn't get it, but Delta cleaning it up and taking the lead. 3:33 to go. The adjustments both teams were making in between games have been really, really good. The Megalodons started off the second game trying to do a little bit more demoing, a little bit more bullying, and then Fettuccine on the third game came right back, and then Megalodons last game, it was a little bit more sloppy, but they were able to win it. I mean, I'm loving that both these teams are really taking it to each other, and they're leaving it all out in the field. As Peaceful trying to get it around Marshall. Marshall with a great read. Delta trying to play that one, and that one was dangerous, but a good job by Alfredo right there. As both teams, their awareness is really, really nice to see, and like you said before, if somebody makes a mistake, they're getting punished, and the mistakes really don't happen as often as each team really hopes.
Yeah, no, they definitely aren't there. And then even if you aren't expecting, you're never expecting your opponent to miss the ball here. You're reading their touch. You're reading the touch after the touch. You're already looking so far forward. So even sometimes when a mistake comes out, it is hard to jump on it because you're not expecting a big whiff. Peaceful taking Payne out of the play there. It's a huge bump on the rotation back in for Peaceful. Probably saves a goal for the Fettuccine Force. And now an attempt downfield for the Megalodons, really not getting a whole lot going. Peaceful and Seasick both waving at that one, and it'll be in the possession of Payne for a moment. Alfredo standing up there just inside the midfield line. A pass off the backboard, but Marshall will collect it, flicks it over Delta. Peaceful's there on the follow-up. A great challenge from Delta to force the flick, even if he didn't get the connection. Followed up well. Ball downfield, dump and chase for Payne out to the center, but nobody diving on it for Megalodons. Peaceful will pop it out on the pinch. A demo there for Peaceful on Seasick. Alfredo has a soft shot saved away by Marshall, but the pressure for the Fettuccine Force is becoming insurmountable here for the Megalodons. They've got to find a way to get themselves some breathing room, otherwise it is going to be tough to make these stops. They have to keep finding these defensive stands against a really strong Fettuccine Force offense, and they're finding them, but only just here. Something has got to give eventually.
Yeah, they were inching the ball forward each 50. There was like 4 50s in a row where they inched the ball forward, but right now the Fettuccine Force is able to get it right back to the center, and now they're starting to inch the ball right back as Seasick is saying, no, I want it right back down to your side. Peaceful basically centering it, but actually getting it away from Delta, but back in the opposite side, and now wasting a little bit more time. It's 2-1 game. You can't really waste that much time. Payne, a pass from Marshall, getting it around 2 players, but Delta with a great save, and there was an opportunity right there. Another shot by Marshall. That was a banger. Doesn't go in, and there was another opportunity. Payne flicking it over Delta. Can't get it around Peaceful, who's been sort of Payne's bane, if you will. Pretty much all game, Peaceful's been able to meet them, and Payne's had some opportunities, and they really want those back. Alfredo going from a center, Delta up off the ceiling, can't get that one as well. Another opportunity to try to pull this away. So coming up on 30 seconds to go here in this game, both teams have opportunities, but we're starting to get to crunch time.
Payne almost found another crazy redirect. We saw them do that once, but it's the lead block from Delta. There's just no way to defend against it. You see yourself caught like this, Delta knows Peaceful's got the carry. Peaceful just takes a step, lets Delta get in front of him, and all Soccar can do is hope and pray he can get up and over the demo while not being out of range to make the save. It is such a razor-thin wire when you're staring down a demo coming at you like that, and the Italian battalion, they know what they're doing when they look for those downfield demo plays. Fettuccine Force are up 2 goals now with 21 seconds left, continuing to thrive on this defensive, or the physical plays downfield, again, as an opportunity for the Megalodons will be taken away at the last moment by the defense of Fettuccine Force. Marshall off the ceiling, some boost left to work with, desperation play, but there's not going to be enough time. It's going to be championship point in Game 6 for the Fettuccine Force. The first time one of these teams has strung 2 wins together. Is this the turning point? Can Fettuccine Force take it in 6, KG?
Oh, this is going to be a tough sell right there. I can't say that it is an easy play. Megalodons have a lot of fight in them. I don't see them. I'd see this being a 1-goal game, if anything, either side. Megalodons, they just couldn't get it out of their zone mostly. They had a decent amount of shots because they were able to get, when they got downfield, they were able to put some offense on there, but the Fettuccine Force were able to, I would have to say that was close to 70-30 possession time, or at least inside Megalodon zone, not specifically possession.
It did very much feel like it was, a close game, only a 2-goal difference, but Fettuccine Force really kind of planted themselves there in the last half of that game number 5. They've got momentum now. This is momentum of momentum because they've strung 2 wins together, which neither team has been able to do to this point. So Fettuccine Force very much on the front foot. This is the biggest game of the season for the Megalodons. It all comes down to this. Got to win to stay alive for the Megalodons, at Fettuccine Force 1 game away from being your Season 15 premier champions, but they've got to go through a really good Megalodons team to get there. It is definitely not a done deal by any stretch. My very very high level, big brain caster prediction here, whoever scores first is going to win this Game 6. It has got to be the Megalodons if they want to keep this series going.
I agree with you. Both teams have, and when it's, if I'm not mistaken, the team that scored first has won, or
I think with the exception of the first overtime win for Fettuccine Force in Game 4. If I'm not mistaken. I think they didn't score first in that one and ended up winning it, but it was an overtime. I think every game that's finished in regulation, the team that has scored first has won. So it is so critical to be able to get out in the front foot. And I mean, Fettuccine Force scored their first goal in the last one super early. This time, it's the Megalodons striking in the first minute. Payne will squeeze this one in after the feed from Soccar. Just a lot of great physical play in front of the box, forcing the 50s, and Payne is able to sneak that one in. A little bit of a a garbage goal if you are really splitting hairs here, because it just was a good 50 to the ceiling. But Megalodons supporting the 50 upfield is what they need to do. They've got to find a way to get more of their people into the box, but a good kickoff return for the Fettuccine Force brings us right back level 1-1.
It was a quick answer. There wasn't too much. Great play by Alfredo. Just push the ball towards it, and the pass landed right in the lap, and that's a thing of beauty. I do love seeing some beautiful passes. I'm a big fan of team play. As Soccar going towards Payne. Payne is not afraid to shoot from basically anywhere. They'll deflect, they'll hit it. You have to be on your toes when Payne's got the ball, because they're definitely willing to do it. An almost dunk on Delta, although technically it was a save by Delta.
Yeah, I mean, it just got pushed right back down into his face. Like, it was almost a huge posterizer of a dunk, and it just got away by the slimmest of margins for the Megalodons. But that is what you want to see. They're throwing themselves at this. They're not waiting for the perfect bounce to come to them. They're trying to force things center, as Peaceful looks to force that one middle. And it is, you talked a little bit about the hockey assist. Oh, what an angle. Jeez, if that had gone in, I don't know what I would have done. But you talked about the hockey assist earlier, and it made me think of one of my favorite hockey analogs to Rocket League. Is sometimes you just have to throw the puck on the cage, and good things will happen. And that has kind of been the Megalodon's go-to here, but it's going to bite them in the tail as Delta snipes the rotation. The gap just opens up a little bit too much, and overcommit, not enough boost to get back, and Delta's like, that goal's wide open. Let me just lob that one in there. It's 2-1 for the Fettuccine Force, and it's got to be perfect for the Megalodons if they want to be able to find a way back into it.
I agree. The Fettuccine Force aren't really making the mistakes that Megalodons have been making, and they haven't been crazy mistakes. That one, unfortunately, was just a little bit of an over pursue, got up a little too hard, but I guess we said before, the teams that are this high up, they are able to punish them quickly. As Alfredo going for goal, that is a little bit wide, but that's a dangerous and tough angle, and that ball's going to sit. He probably should have banged that in, but Delta able to clean that up. So right now, I think if you're the Megalodons, you need to just sort of ignore those and play it off like you really do need 2 goals, but you got to play it off like that was nothing, and just grind it down. You've got 2 minutes and 39 seconds. You still have time.
Yeah, you got to have a short memory here. Just get right back after it. Treat it like it's 0-0 and you're trying to find a goal to win, because you've got to find 2, so you've got to start somewhere with a first. Marshall will take that one away off the backboard, but I mean, Fettuccine Force scoring their 3rd goal literally just on throwing the ball at the net, forcing 50s, and then jumping on the one that's loose. Peaceful looking for something crazy off the backboard. Couldn't quite get back to it with the boost that he had, so it'll be just more time ticked off the clock here for the Fettuccine Forces. There's 2 minutes left. They're guarding a 2-goal lead. It is both simultaneously the best place and the worst place to be in for the Fettuccine Force, because 2-goal lead is the most dangerous lead in sports, esports, whatever. Delta missing this one, an opportunity here for the Megalodons, but Stisek just waiting a little bit too long to go for it. Alfredo made a critical 0 boost challenge there. Payne on the end of a pass from Marshall, looking for the bump on Alfredo. Sisek underneath. Can he find a pass to the middle? Payne's waiting, but the pass is behind Payne, so it'll be all the way back into the Megalodons' end. They've got to retreat and try again. 90 seconds remain. They've got to find 2 goals still, or their season will be over.
Yeah, 1:30 to go. There's still time to do this. You really do have to be very aggressive here. You can't sit back. You kind of have to go for it, as that ball almost went, and that could have really ended it. Coming up on a minute to go. Peaceful can't get that one, and Sisek able to punch it up to Payne. The 50 win by Alfredo. Demo from Delta onto Sisek, but it lands in Marshall, who passes it to Payne, who deflects it in, and we have a ball game. Still a minute to go. There's still definitely a lot of time.
What a great 1-2-1 passing play. Marshall to Payne, back to Marshall, and Marshall gets the last touch over top of Delta to put it away. Honestly, one of the better goals we've seen from either of these teams so far in the match, and it is a big one for the Megalodons as they're back within 1, 60 seconds left. Got to find a way to put one more in at least before the clock hits 0. Alfredo, a double 50 there. It's going to be an opportunity here, though, for the Megalodons. Peaceful looking for the bump, or Marshall looking for the bump on Peaceful, pardon me. He found it, but the shot was off frame as Payne gets this one down in the center. Marshall's there, and the double commit's punished. We're tied at 3.
Oh, this game isn't over, and I dare say the Megalodons have a teeny bit of momentum. You got to watch out for this kickoff right here. This kickoff, I think, is the biggest, kind of the biggest play of the game right now, depending on what goes down, because if there's a quick score here, momentum is really on one team's side, and Payne hitting it off the ceiling. Alfredo able to read that, but that ball's still here. 30 seconds to go. Peaceful getting it down there. Payne's going to catch it. Gets it around Alfredo. Marshall there to try to get in. We have a chance here. 3-on-1. Peaceful can just barely top that ball, and that was an opportunity that didn't happen, and that could have ended it right there.
That was a game saver for Peaceful for sure, as Alfredo puts this one in the corner. 10 seconds remain. An opportunity maybe here for the Fettuccine Force. Peaceful to Alfredo in the corner. It'll be 0s, and the ball will be in possession of the Fettuccine Force, but nobody's there. Another time. The next goal could decide whether we're done or we see a game 7. Marshall on the win through the kickoff. Looks for the bump. Payne tries to drive it in, but it's 50 away. Now Sisek to the middle. Peaceful is going to have it off the backboard. A good clear there. Payne right back into the blue end. Peaceful again, chopping it down now with boost, and Alfredo in support. Seasick waiting, and he gets a great 50 to chip this one back and away. Payne will be on the end of it. Delta back out to the center of the pitch. A dangerous touch there, but both teammates ready for it. Alfredo can't follow this one in because he's demoed by Payne, and they'll be up to Delta, who squeaks it through a couple defenders. Here's a juicy rebound. Delta can't find the shot, and we continue on in OT here in Game 6.
Yeah, old Payne trying a little bit of a hook shot. Delta reading that one very well and able to come across. Alfredo hitting it off back wall. Can they get that double touch? They do, but it's centered to Marshall, who is trying to get it back to the opposite side. Flip reset and gets it in.
What a finish from Marshall. The flip reset to win it, and we get a Game 7, KG. We did it.
Oh my goodness gracious. That momentum that the Fettuccine Force had from those wins into Game 6, that it's nothing. We have the tell-all, end-all. This is it. This is for all the marbles. This is for everything. Winner take all. Sorry.
It does all come down to this. It is literally the last game of the season for Premier. It all comes down to this last one. Megalodons dropped 2 in a row, the only 2-game spread here. Fettuccine Force put themselves up, and now we are in a Game 7. Megalodons were down by 2 goals in that game, and they win it in overtime to send us to 7. I saw GGs in the chat. Anybody that put a GG in the chat when Fettuccine Force went up by 2, you're wrong. It is now Game 7, and man, I could not be more excited.
Oh, no, you're right. Look at Marshall this game stepping up and was basically the reason. 3 shots, 3 goals, no assists, no saves. Said, I'm playing offense this entire time. Took a page from Payne's playbook, and obviously the catalyst for this entire win. Fettuccine Force. It's Game 7. They still have a chance, but that you got to have a little bit of the feels for them. Giving up 3 goals at the end is it's not very good.
It's definitely not a good look, but you've got to wipe it from your memory if you are Fettuccine Force. That last game does not matter because it all comes down to this best of 1 for all of the marbles here. Season 15 Premier going all the way to 7. 3 overtimes, literally could not be more even through all of this. And now an opportunity for the Megalodons. Payne just ever so close to being able to jam that one in from a tight angle. Seasick out to the center. Peaceful's got to make the save, and Marshall has bailed all the way out for boost. He's going to be the first one to this challenge. He'll meet Delta on the sidewall, but it's a good 50 here. Seasick and Marshall both going for that one. A demo will take Marshall off the field for a moment. An opportunity here, but Payne will take it away. And now Delta just going to smack it back downfield, looking for Peaceful. Bends it back to the middle. Delta up again, but Seasick first to it. All the way down into the blue end. Alfredo with the catch. Looking to the middle of the field, but can't find anybody streaking down to receive the pass. Be back to Peaceful, who's just going to punt it long here. Marshall with a miss. Delta immediately on it, and he puts it in. Delta punishes the mistake. And it's a 1-0 lead once again for the Fettuccine Force.
Yes, I don't think nobody, except for the person who scored the goal, expected that. And the defense kind of was flat-footed. You didn't expect it. And that, again, the punishment of the mistakes. This is the high-level stuff you really can't. But still plenty of time. 4 minutes to go. Marshall had a great game. You still can have another one as that ball is a little bit dangerous, goes to the opposite side, and Payne going to try to take over, getting it around Delta, but Alfredo's already up. Can Seasick get up and get a touch? Does. Marshall looking to go up wall, can't get it because Peaceful's able to hit it to the opposite side, and now trying to take over, getting it around Payne, who pinches it towards their own goal, but Marshall is there, and that's a little scary right there. Seasick taking Delta's hit off the ceiling and keeping it away from their goal. Alfredo can't dunk Marshall. Payne with a deflection. Can Marshall go up and read it? No, they do not have the boost, I don't believe. And that could have been a game-time goal. And unfortunately, nothing coming from that as Payne saving this one. Peaceful trying to do something with it. Just kind of trying to get to throw the ball somewhere. Alfredo centering it. Can Delta go up? No, Payne's already up. That's going to be a pass to Marshall. That's off back wall. Can Seasick get up? No, Peaceful's already there as well. And good reads right here by the Fettuccine Force. They are on top of things on the defensive side right now.
Yeah, it is a close run downfield for both these teams. A real tight angle shot, massive save from Peaceful to maintain this 1-goal lead, but the Megalodons aren't gone. Another look here, and Marshall can't put him underneath. Is that save from Peaceful the one that saves the championship here for the Fettuccine Force? So the Megalodons have an answer. They look downfield, but Delta just cranks this one right to the orange backboard. An infield pass for Delta, looking for Peaceful. He found his man. Just a possession touch there from Peaceful. He forces a good 50. He'll steal the corner boost as well. 100 boost for Delta, just waiting for this one to come his way, protecting this 1-goal lead. Marshall to the backboard. Peaceful had that one read all the way through. He's going to have a follow-up as well over top of Payne, who's bumped slow getting back. 2-on-3 now for a moment as Payne with low boost is just going to have to flip his way back in the rotation. He secured his corner boost, but has it 50'd away by Peaceful there. And the Fettuccine Force are more than happy to just play keep away in the midfield here, bleeding some more time off the clock. They know that eventually a mistake is going to come out, and if they can be there to capitalize on it, they can ice this one. They've got an insurance goal. A minute 50 remains here. We know the Megalodons can come back when they're down by 2. But this Fettuccine Force team right now looks locked in, and they've got an insurance goal. They can turtle up and just guide this one the rest of the way out.
I agree. They look just a step ahead, and the step that they need to be ahead. It's not like the Megalodons are making right plays, making good plays, trying to do passes, rotating pretty well. They've had the misses, and that's kind of been the difference right here. But, oh, nice job right there by Alfredo to meet Marshall. A good demo, but here we go. Payne with a missed touch right there. And not to say that they would have gotten the goal, but you would have loved to see it on target. And it just seems like they're just a little bit off right now. Although, great touch right there by Marshall to slam it to the ceiling right here. And a good read by Seasick. Oh, no, it's Peaceful in the 50 right there that led to it. Seasick with a great read, and we still have a game.
Man, what a finish there, and a huge forced 50 all the way to the center from Marshall, kind of making up for the mistake that gave the first goal to Fettuccine Force, but the work is not done for the Megalodons. Still have to score at least one more in regulation to force what could be the 4th overtime of this 7-game series. Got to find one more. Marshall out in pursuit, but Peaceful with a pretty solid clear all the way downfield. Seasick will collect as well as grab the boost. Delta to the backboard, though, just gave the ball away, and the shot is off the crossbar, but now a lot of momentum for the Fettuccine Force. Megalodons all the way on the back foot, not a lot of boost, and not a lot of time to make something happen as Delta gets a touch. Seasick will slow it down. Delta's still there. Past one, Peaceful now on it. Delta again in that lead blocker position. Alfredo with a read to the sideboards. Payne will have the touch out towards midfield. Gets the 50 around Peaceful. Marshall back towards Payne, but Peaceful's got the stop. Seasick, another touch here. Alfredo to the center. Delta will be on the end of it. He's going to throw it on frame. It's a save away from Payne. 20 seconds remaining now for the Megalodon. Downfield. Payne with a long clear. Peaceful keeps it close. Payne out to the center. Delta, he's going to have the touch here. Seasick meets him for the challenge. Marshall, another touch, 10 seconds. Payne a shot, pretty easy look here. Marshall takes it away, though. Another opportunity, maybe, but nobody was there fast enough. Zero's coming up, and it's on the ground. Fettuccine Force, your premier champions for RSC Season 15.
Oh, what a series that was. 7 games goes the entire way. A 2-1 game. To get here, a comeback overtime win. And again, they're down 2-0, and they got the late goal. They had a chance, but unfortunately, the Fettuccine Force just a little bit too much that game. And it kind of was a story that one team was just a little bit too much for the other team in each and every game.
Yeah, just that little tiny step ahead of each team was the difference in each one. I think only one of those games was more than a 1-goal game, if I'm not mistaken. Just as close can be through that series, and in our biggest tier in the sense of MMR number, our most high skill tier, we got the most high skill, and all 7 games, 3 overtimes, almost a 4th at the very end, and at the end of the day, it's the Fettuccine Force that just had that little bit extra to be able to take it. And the Italian Battalion have got a premier team representing them as the Season 15 RSC champions. So congratulations to them. Big shout outs to Megalodons. I mean, that was a series that looked like it might have been done in 6, but to get all the way to 7, that Game 6 comeback was huge and just came up ever so short at the very end. A very hard-fought season, a very hard-fought series. Could not ask for it to be any better. There is a poll up currently for Premier Finals MVP. Make sure that you vote for whoever you think should be that MVP. KG, who is your pick for MVP in these finals?
See, this was a little bit tougher. At first, I was going to say Alfredo, but I'll be honest, at the end, I kind of liked Delta. They played very well defensively, offensively, but I think that Alfredo's probably going to win it. And now that I'm looking at it, Peaceful's winning it. So plenty of time for people to vote. There's a lot of people in chat that you guys can go ahead, but that's my opinion. I think Delta played an excellent, excellent series overall.
I think because I am not obligated to make a decision, I think any of these players could be MVPs. See, that's what we get to do as casters. So we get to sit on the fence because we're literally supposed to be unbiased. So I get to sit here and say I'm not going to decide. I honestly do think any 3 of those players could get MVP. I think all 3 had it, but it is Peaceful with the majority of the vote that will be your Premier Finals MVP. So congratulations to Peaceful. Man, KG, we had the shortest possible series that we could have had, and then probably the longest possible series that we could have had back to back. So, kind of evens out the 2 normal length series. I had a ton of fun. We got to watch the Contender series. The Contender finals happened before this one, and that one, for anybody that missed it, was won by, because I don't remember, because as soon as I look away from something, it's out of my head. That was won by the Gravitational from Energy, GM'd by BioEffect. So congratulations to Gravitational. And then the winner here for the Fettuccine Force, Alfredo is the GM. I was right. I knew that he was the GM. I couldn't remember if he still is. He is. So Alfredo, the GM and the captain for that Fettuccine Force team, the victors for Season 15 in Premier. Well, that's all we've got. We don't have any more matches tonight, but Wednesday coming up, Tux, I know that you're probably, trying not to talk or whatever, but what are the tiers for Wednesday? Oh, he doesn't know off the top of his head. The Prospect and Master on Wednesday. So another really strong slate of finals coming up on Wednesday. Going to want to make sure that you're here for that. We will start that is also a 9:30 start, so a little bit earlier than our normal 10:50, like 11 o'clock Eastern start time. 9:30 sharp on Wednesday. Make sure you're here for Prospect and Master. KG, I have had a wonderful time casting with you tonight. As always, anything else that you want to say to everybody before we get out of here, and then I'll sign us off?
Oh, quick shout out to Tropical Kaylee for gifting subs, and thank you for that very much.
Absolutely. Shout outs to everybody in chat. It's always so much more fun for us to see people in chat participating in the series. Shout outs to the Italian Battalion and to the Energy, the 2 teams the 2 franchises with the champions tonight. We will see all of you on Wednesday for